Okay, hello. Testing, testing. That cough was my allergies. Okay, go. You say something now.
Testing. Is this, nobody can hear this, right? Except us?
I doubt anybody is watching. Literally.
They've got better things.
How
to
could
do.
they possibly be watching in the middle of a
Right.
pandemic?
Is this oh, you're so photogenic.
Oh.
Is this live to tape?
Yeah, this is like the Bill O'Reilly version.
But did they tape it?
Yeah,
Did we tape it?
I'm recording it. See, all right, let's do a little bit of
They tape it. We're going to do it live.
Hello, Matt. Hello. Okay, remember, when you yell, it's into somebody's ear.
We don't think anybody.
No, but eventually.
Oh, okay.
So this is how
Is this
I learned
this is recording now?
Yeah, I learned this from, but we're just not like started yet.
But this is the fun part.
What they call in the business the pre-show.
People should get to hear this.
Yes,
right?
I'm about to explain how.
Okay.
Okay, so you see this right here. This is Audio Hijack, and it's recording our audio. Say something.
Hello.
Say it again.
Hello.
Could you say it a little louder?
Hello.
Okay, good job. Okay, so what's happening is our audio is going in these here channels, and then that's working. So I can now forget about that. And then we're going to YouTube. I learned this all from Tom Merritt. I think everybody moved over to Twitch by now, but I don't understand. Come on, gotta scoot over a little bit.
Look, my hair looks like a hipster. Like
it definitely doesn't.
No, you know what I mean? Like it's like doing this.
Do
you know what I'm talking about, though? Right?
I do. I do know what you're talking about. I do.
Well, how would you describe it, asshole?
We've been together for 10 days in the same room. Oh my God. Wait. So is anyone getting any audio? This is my concern. Mute. Okay. Hello. I
didn't share.
Oh, okay. So I see audio coming through. I'm concerned. I'm concerned that.
What does that mean?
Whatever. It doesn't matter. We're really recording this.
Look. La 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 la. It only goes up to there.
Oh, that's not bad.
Wow. Stays on one.
I wonder if it doesn't get both channels.
Oh God,
yeah, it gets it. Oh, sorry. I hope no one's.
My God,
2 old people do YouTube.
Broken forever.
Okay.
Oh God.
It's okay. Let me make sure.
Everybody can tell. I mean, not now, but in the world.
Okay, so pop out chat. Okay, just in case. All right, so I feel like I'm just going to assume this is working because it's going to work for the audio, but we're just streaming it for the hell of it, but we're going to forget that we're streaming it. Okay. We got to wait till 3 more minutes, though. Sit here quietly.
Am I offline? Was that the problem?
No, you're fine. What do you mean offline?
No, I mean like not online with the mic.
Oh, yeah.
Off mic.
Oh, it's always better to go straight down the barrel of the like right here, like straight down.
Should we put gloves on these mics?
No, these mics are fine. This mic is fine. No one but us has used this mic. Okay, I'm gonna go one other place. This is the only way I could do this, was just by doing it really fast and messy. Okay. All right. I am just going to assume that it's working. I can tell. That's hilarious. That's like an infinite. Why is it doing infinite feedback? Hold on, wait. Trippy, man. All right. Oops. That's not what I wanted to do. Hold on. I'm going to go back to... You guys, this is a thrilling pre-show. Just thrilling. Hold on, share. How do I share? Oh, it's on my tweet. Hold on. It's cool that it was actually working. All right. No, I'm looking for... You're seeing how the internet works, Matt. Isn't that cool?
I'm frightened.
Don't be frightened.
That's Jax.
Yeah. I posted a picture of Jax on Twitter.
I posted a picture of Jax on Twitter.
Just infinite loop. Wait, why is it infinite looping that way? Hold on.
I posted a picture of Jax on Twitter.
Just infinite loop. Wait, why is it infinite looping that way? Hold on.
I'm just staying still.
Just infinite loop. Wait, why is it infinite looping that way? Hold on.
I'm just staying still.
So it's like a little far behind. Okay. Is it because it's also on here? This could be terrible. It doesn't matter.
For people?
Well, it doesn't matter. There are no people.
But what happens when it finally tapes?
When it finally tapes for audio, it's going to be fine. I just don't have any way of knowing. I think that was just because I was watching it. I don't know. Oh, well, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
I wonder if we should get McDonald's tonight.
Instead of tacos?
Yeah, after all that shopping.
No, we did shopping.
Okay.
It has to be done. Okay, so. All right, it's 7:00. We can start. All right.
Did you want to sing the song?
Yeah,
first?
I'm gonna. Would you like to sing with
Sing
me?
the song? No. That's
Oh,
it. I would
okay.
just like to say, doesn't it feel like we're reporting from behind enemy lines?
You mean our house?
Yeah. Well, no, everywhere. The whole earth. Like this is a wartime broadcast. Hello to everybody in Radio America out there, all you fighting boys. The message
And
all the
girls.
free,
Girls
and
fight.
girls. The message to I'm from the 40s. A message to all the free folk out there. The squirrel is in the berry patch. The squirrel is in the berry patch.
Ba, da, 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 da. Okay, I'm going to the podcast audience is going to hear this in the proper way with music, but I am going to live sing the Cheers theme song because nobody's listening, so it doesn't matter. All right, so if you could do
Are you editing it in?
yeah, I'll edit it
I
in
see,
later.
yeah.
It's called editing.
I just didn't know you were doing any editing
Yeah.
on this one.
No, I don't want to. Maybe I'll do it live. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. All right, ready? 3. Oh, that was a bug. Okay. 3, 2. Finding a way to watch Cheers today so we can give our thoughts. First thing we'll do is try to hurry to summarize the plots. Shouldn't take long to lose our way.
You've tuned into a show where everybody knows we're late.
And he changed the key.
Was that
And
good or
we're
bad?
basking
And we're basking that
the
acclaim. We're gonna watch some old TV and probably call out Norm's name. Give us a break, or maybe we will switch to fame.
IMDbing half the show, guest actors' resumes. Each episode shows everybody knows we're lame. Oh, and this is the second verse, the one you never hear. Yes, you're okay. See, you did it too low.
Oh.
Yes, you're okay. Some of what we say concerns the theme and plot, but you may find in frequent flurries we lose our train of thought. Often it's best when our minds stray. Sometimes you want to know what thoughts did Coach mix up today. Sam's harassment, it's just play. I take issue here. Alex Trebek takes on Cliffy.
You'll see that someday.
Woody loves Kelly's name.
You'll see that too.
We love a show where everybody knows we're lame. Let's talk about Cheers is the show. Please note that that is the name. You ought to know this isn't Tell It Anyway. I love how Mike Range, who wrote that for us, just out of the blue, actually built in a guilt trip to the song that he wrote for us. That is some epic shade right there. Welcome to a live.
It is like saying to Tell It Anyway, in the fact that we've not done it for 42 months. That the two.
It sets off like a guilt tornado. There's so
Yeah.
much guilt, you can't even keep track of it. Okay, so we're here at the end of the world to do. That's what it took. It took an apocalypse.
Together at the end
It
of the
took
world.
a global pandemic where things are very, very bad.
And to bring us back to Cheers.
To bring us back to Cheers. To have the time to sit down and watch the last episodes of season 2.
But who has wanted to do it since the day after the last time we probably did it? And
This guy.
every day since.
This guy.
Every day I want you to do it.
Every day.
Then the world ends and you're excited and I'll take it.
Yeah, that's right. It takes the world ending for us to do an episode of Let's Talk About Cheers.
But when you watch Cheers, that's the great thing. You don't feel like the world has any problems so that it's ending. You take yourself back to in the 1983, 84, this probably is.
Yeah.
And then we're not dealing with a pandemic of any kind. And the only pandemic we're dealing with is homophobia,
Sexual harassment.
a little mild racism.
Yeah. So everything's fine. Those were the good old days. Okay, so let's get to it because I don't want this episode to be so much longer than a normal episode. Although we do have, I believe, like 19 episodes to get to.
We summed it up. Here was the thinking. We wanted to start to get to the cheers that everybody, even in the song, you hear it. Woody was just referenced. A very later episode with Alex Trebek was referenced, and we've got 11 seasons to get through and a lot of cliffhangers. So we sort of wanted to
Cliffy
hangers. So we wanted to speed through the episodes. I sort of see the Sam and Diane. We watched them all, but we wanted to get to the cliffhangers so we could get to the other figures that we are more familiar with over the years from Cheers and really get into the heart of the show. I think I would say starts even more so in season 3.
Okay, so you feel like I'm still in like the early episodes of like where it still feels like
Here's what I think. I think every so often, even like every third episode, particularly at the end of episodes, you get a sublime moment of comedy or drama that you just love, and you're like, oh, they don't make it like this anymore, and I love watching this. But then on some other shows, you watch it, and you almost feel like, oh, this was when they were still refining, punchline after punchline after punchline, not in a bad way,
right?
But like later on, it just sort of, you see this sort of the joke with it in the other episodes, and it still has all the stuff you like, but I just feel like maybe it moves a little bit quicker sometimes on the episodes that, I mean, the Sam and Diane episodes always fly, but on the ones that aren't.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes. So just to recap, since we haven't been here, the last time we did an episode was October of 2019, back when things were just bad.
Oh my God. And these notes are from November 23rd. I don't know if they're the most recent ones.
Well, no, the last thing we put out, the last episode was the one where we fought, and then we never put out another episode.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So we've never fought again.
In 2019 or 2018?
No, October 2019
was
the last episode we put out. We taped that one a year ago. We're really good at this. So we have already talked about in season 2, Power Play, which is the episode where they what happens after Sam and Diane's first kiss. We talked about Little Sister Don't Ya, where Carla's sister Annette called homicidal ham.
Whoops, sorry.
Put your phone on mute. We're doing a podcast.
Lance Winnery is watching.
Oh,
Shout
no.
out to good friend Lance Winnery, one of the funniest guys I know.
The funniest
and
guy.
perhaps one of the few people watching during this pandemic, and I appreciate it. Good on you, Lance.
Good on you, Lance.
We love you and we miss
You know
you.
what we don't have for this episode?
What? Beer.
Should
I go get
Go
it?
get beer in the mugs. I'll hold down the fort.
I love that it's Lance who reminded us of that. Another reason to love Lance. All right,
Okay.
I'll be right back.
All right. Okay, so while Matt goes and gets us beer in mugs, which won't be frozen, but it's okay, it's more authentic. I will just say that it has been a really crazy October, November, December, January, February, March. It's been 6 months since we put out an episode, which for us is not bad. Like, this is not the worst that we've ever gone time between putting out episodes. There's literally a Tell It Anyway sitting in the can that I have to put out. But fine. So we have experienced some delightful disasters in our life, like everybody. And then one big disaster came along and literally locked us in the house. So after we got done, buying all the groceries and putting the duct tape up around the house and making sure that dogs can't get the pandemic, we thought we'd podcast. If you're just joining us, Matt is off getting beers because we just realized that. I had thought about that before, and then I realized that we needed beers. But we do have a chat. There's a live chat going on here. So if anyone else joins, you can chat with us and we'll see it, eventually. And that's what I got. I'm just sitting here waiting for beer. I have to say, actually I should really wait. Everything I want to say to Matt. But that's okay. I can hold. Do you guys want to talk about Star Wars? We could talk about Star Wars. No, okay. Let's keep it to 80s shows. I don't know. It's really hard to pull a Vin Scully. Where do you go when the only thing you're going to say is to say to someone else who isn't here? Oh, I know. Okay, so check this out. Wait, I should probably see the YouTube before I should see the YouTube. We got.
Yeah.
Oh, we got beer. I was just about to show the Funko Pops. All right, great, fantastic. See, props. Okay, this is awesome.
I'm nervous. We only have like 2 beers left. I feel I should have
gone to Ralph's and gotten beers.
more beer. I have another trip to the grocery store in our future for the essentials beer.
Well, I was first before we cheers. I wanted to show these off. We have fans of this show, believe it or not, and not just because I pay them. This is a Funko Pop of Sam Mayday Malone. It's hard to see without the there. And here's one of Norm Peterson, which looks exactly the same as the Funko Pop for Sam Malone.
No, it doesn't. He's got Norm's little tan jacket. He's got a beer in his hand. Sam would never have a beer.
Sam has
he's an alcoholic. He's got a baseball.
There we go. So yeah, so Anthony Lemos of Ritual Misery podcast sent these to us, which is really amazing. They just arrived in the mail one day. I should also mention amongst people who sent me things, Rich Stroffolino sent me an Etsy Baby Yoda. So we're really raking in the goods here. All right, so here you go to like Cheers. 17 episodes of Cheers.
Here we go. I
in
hope we remember anything from them, more than just the last 2. I want to say it's good that we're doing these things. Norm.
Okay, we did it.
It's good that we're doing this right now because Lance Winery, who we just found out is watching, once said about Tell It Anyway. And then I believe this podcast, he's like, I love listening to you guys do the podcast. You start and I watch it and I get excited. And then you stop and it's just a cock tease. And I thought that was really funny. That was a virtual slap to the face.
It's very accurate.
And yet we responded by waiting 18 months.
Yeah.
It happens.
Well, hey,
life happens.
Some things are worth the wait.
They are. We're about to prove it.
Okay. So the first episode back from the last episode, which was Homicidal Ham, is entitled Sumner's Return. And it aired on November 3rd, 1983. Now, this is the basic thing is the whole thing kicked off with Diane Chambers coming into the bar with her boyfriend Sumner Sloan. And
you know what's weird? Really quickly, I think the notes that I have, they start with manager coach. How much is that after this? I must not have notes for those too.
Oh, that's okay. That's episode 8. We'll get there. But Sumner Sloan is the one that I remember as being very funny because Sam, of course, so Sumner Sloan is the guy that Diane was going to date. Was dating.
Very first episode.
Pilot episode. He leaves. She ends up being the waitress there. She starts dating Sam, and then Sumner returns, and he's got a girlfriend, right? He says he does.
Yes, he's sort of bluffing. He's trying to get Diane back, right?
Right. And so they agree to go out to dinner with Sumner, and of course, Sam, having just gotten into a relationship with Diane.
I'm reading the summary.
Realizes that he feels insecure, and so he decides to read War and Peace, which was recommended by Cliff, and he spends 5 days reading it and not sleeping. And he's like he's all ready to do it. And then there's this wonderful scene.
Yes, that's what I was going to say.
Sure, you can tell. You tell.
I just remember the thing that I remember from that episode was them leaving and saying like, "Oh, War and Peace." I find that he's read it to impress them and put his all into it. And he's like, "I find a War and Peace to be a drivel." And he's heading out. And he's like, "Oh!" And then the 1-2 punches. Diane says, "Yes."
Later.
It's like, and the movie was even worse. And the response is, "There was a movie."
Didn't that end the whole episode?
Did that end it?
I'm pretty sure.
I don't remember.
I'm pretty sure. So basically, like, we should never look at ourselves here on this. It's a motivation killer. Okay.
Why? Because we look not good?
No, just because like then you're like looking at the screen and you don't want to see that. You just want to do what you're doing. yeah, so that was the punchline. Is afterwards he confessed like
That was how they ended the show.
That's
There
how
was
they
a
ended
movie.
there was a movie, but like the basic thing is like Sam and Diane are feeling out the relationship. Like they have just
Ultimately, she was just happy he tried to
that
impress
he
her.
tried
that he
to
would do
impress
that.
her. Yeah. And she, so this is again the scene, as many of their episodes do, ends in Sam's office
Yes.
with like a hard punchline.
Like a Sam and Diane sit down,
Yeah.
which they do the best.
Yes.
Which when we get to the end of the season, they continue it.
Yes.
I think through the whole series, as long as she's there, the Sam and Diane sort of sit downs at the end are the best.
So that's like that's like what we're gonna do with this, because there's so many episodes for us to talk about, is we're just gonna say like what we remember from it, and like if there were any lines we remember, or if there was anything that was like really important to the show itself. And we'll let you watch them and let us know what you think about them. Of course, you can watch them now, interestingly enough, on Netflix. So for a while they were on Hulu. They might still be there. They're probably still on CBS Access. That was one place that they were, but now they're definitely on Netflix. So really easy way to watch these. If you have been watching, I think probably Richard Gunther is so far ahead of us on Cheers's, because they and Tom too, because they've been watching them regularly. Tom Merritt, they all kept watching Cheers.
I'd be interested to know where they're at and if we can catch up to them.
So if you can tell us, oh faithful 30 listeners to this podcast, where you are since we stopped. We are now going to go on to affairs.
And also, if you could tell us in the end of days, the end of all things.
Oh yeah,
we've been looking to try and stream The Stand, and we can't find it anywhere. If anybody knows where to find The Stand, we'll look. We saw that it was on like Vudu, and that was it.
Vudu. He's saying that because that's a Friday Night Lights reference.
And can't find it anywhere else. So, anybody else has any interest in watching The Stand? Somehow has an angle on where to find it.
Hey, I got your Stand right here. I got 8 episodes of The Stand. It was 4 parts, right?
Yeah, or even 4 must was 4. Yeah.
Let's talk about the apocalypse. New podcast coming never. Okay, so the next episode is called Affairs of the Heart. Wait, I think there's like a pet trying to get in or out.
Oh, it's Jax. He followed me to get the beer. Oh no, he's trying to get out. What are you trying to do, Jax?
This is how our life is. Just a constant series of opening doors for pets. He's like, no one's paying attention to me.
I'll leave it open.
Leave it open in case. Okay, so this episode's called Affairs of the Heart. It's a Carla-centric episode. Carla does not want to date Hank because I don't remember.
You don't know what you're talking about. You don't even know who Hank is. I don't either. I mean, we're just looking at the summaries because this was watched like Jenny said back in November.
Oh, December. Right. This is the one where she finds out that Hank has a heart condition, so any sex.
This was shticky.
Yeah, it was a little shticky. It was like a little
that she has sex with this one. And this is one thing we find when there's in these early seasons, if there's a one-off character, 9 times out of 10, and sometimes there'll be one like I don't know if it's the one that's coming where the guy left money to everybody.
Yeah.
The money. It's good, but sometimes it's like I'm a spy or things like that, and it just it slows down the whole story. Like the whole episode revolves around one outside character, and it's not fun.
So this one like that. Wasn't that good. I don't remember anything from it per se. But again, Carla, always great. It's just she's always better in small doses. That's also the thing when you have like a popular side character who like starts to get their own episodes and they're not always good. But there is one coming up that's really good. Okay, so this is an episode 7 called Old Flames. He's gonna go with Fred Dreyer. Who's plays the sportscaster?
Yeah, his like best friend from one of his friends from the old days. Yeah, always wearing the plaid jacket.
And Sam uses his little black book to give a woman's telephone number to Dave. Sam doesn't want to give up the book.
Oh, it's Sam's legendary little black book, and Norm and Cliff look at it as if it's the Holy Grail,
right?
And do anything to have it.
I'm like reading these words and it just seems like I don't remember this episode at all.
Do we have to rewatch this one?
No. Later, he spends the previous night. These are written by, I feel like someone in not here.
Sam
Wait, I'm
tells
gonna read
Dave
this.
that he's okay. Yeah.
All right, no, it's
No,
like
go ahead.
later he spends the previous night with Dee Dee, arranged by Dave, at the hotel, but he does not sleep with her. The following day, Sam tells Dave that his relationship with Diane is not over and Dave must accompany someone else. When Dave, this is not a
Is this
good
the only one that exists?
episode recap. I think we're just going to skip right past this, although it was written by David Angel.
And it was, I remember, at the very least, a good Fred Dryer episode. But
Yes.
there are more of those that are better than this one was.
Yes. Okay. So, and usually there are more like in-depth summaries, but I'm not seeing them. Okay, but
Well, this is when some of my
thank
notes.
God here is an episode where Matt's notes start, which is an episode called, oh, I do remember this, Manager
Yes.
Coach,
Yes.
where Coach accepts a coaching position for like a youth baseball team.
Yes, and the cold open, I remember being a classic
Yes.
cold open where Carla is trying to get her new baby to sleep. And she was telling everybody in the bar, "Oh, my baby's asleep. I can't get her to sleep." And so they slowly gather around the phone because one of them says, "Oh, I'm actually good at this. Let me sing a lullaby for the baby." And he starts singing like "Tora, Lora, Lora, Tora, Lora."
yay.
And then everybody slowly gathers around the phone, "Lora, Lora, an Irish lullaby." And then slowly Carly gives a thumbs up and says, "She's asleep." And everybody goes, "Yeah! Woo!" And cheers. And then the baby you hear crying over the phone and
the
Carla's
baby
upset.
wakes up.
And then the music kicks in for the opener, for the opening credits.
And so this episode, Coach turns into a little bit of a tyrant. He takes it really seriously, this game, and all the kids want to quit the team, but Coach doesn't let them. And this was a good episode because it's got a little bit into the baseball of it and like Coach's past as a baseball player.
Right. And it was kind of fun to see that color on Coach of a Coach actually being an asshole to the kids.
Mm-hmm.
I have here too, and I don't know what the hell it means. It says twist. This is a game unto itself, trying to figure out Matt's notes from November 23rd. It says twist, trying to keep Diane off hers. Does anything in the summary help you with that? Trying to keep Diane off hers. It's like a game for everybody out there. What did Matt's notes mean? And then Coach's Little League team. That's obvious. That's an obvious note. And then I guess this was a reference. Can of SpaghettiOs and reruns of Beretta. What is today's equivalent? I was asking myself. That was just a reference to the show Beretta and SpaghettiOs, and
I guess it would be a
just
can
wondered.
of SpaghettiOs and watching Cheers.
Right. And then I wrote down the word Samsplaining.
Yes. So that was a thing what we were going to do where Sam explains something, and instead of mansplaining, we were going to call it Samsplaining. You see Diane, or he says, "You see Diane." So that's the thing.
Probably Samsplaining baseball to Diane.
Yes.
Coaches and baseball. I wrote classic 80s Sam rugby shirt, which is something you notice. There in the rotation, there are about 8 shirts, and you see them coming back.
One of which
shirts
he's wearing in this Funko.
The blue shirt,
the blue
right?
shirt and the tan pants.
Yep.
Sam Mayday Malone.
I think he might have been wearing the blue shirt, or at least a blue shirt, in the finale.
Yep. That's always good.
I wrote right here something for us to remember. Corey Feldman as a little leaguer. A 7-year-old Corey Feldman coach was coaching on the baseball team. And he was about to have a nervous breakdown.
Yeah, that was good. There
On
were
the show.
a bunch of like that kids in there.
Yep.
Okay, wait.
Little kid touches woman's butt.
Oh yeah, this week in child sexual. Well, no, never mind. This week in bar sexual harassment.
It's like, you're fine, you crazy little kid. Because next I wrote, grabbing girl's butt would be enough today.
Yeah, that would be enough to get you banned to the desert island. I have so many beverages here. Okay, so we have got to go to like 100 more episodes before we get to the ones we actually remember. So let's go quick.
And there was a coach talk in Sam's office.
Oh, right. Always good. Okay. Episode 9. This is exactly a guest star episode. They called me Mayday. Dick Cavett, the actual Dick Cavett, comes to Cheers and he meets Sam, recognizes him, and says Sam should write an autobiography. So, which Diane somehow does overnight. She overnight writes a biography of Sam under the pseudonym Jessica Simpson Bourget, which is actually very prophetic. And then Dick's publisher doesn't like it because it's not controversial enough. She writes more about Sam's sex life.
I do see right here, and I don't know if was true for
Yeah.
you, but I have written down bad episodes so far.
Yeah, it like even reading it, it just looks very like Norm's high school rival dates Norm's ex-wife Vera.
Oh, and here's a question. I guess this falls
Oh,
under,
Norm and Wally wrestle. I remember that.
Oh, was that in the same episode here?
Yeah,
In This Week in Sam's sexual harassment.
yeah.
I wrote down Sam is a big sweethearter. He always uses the term sweetheart.
Sweetheart, hey, sweetheart.
And I'm wondering in that context from Sam if that still works.
If it's said to Diane, it's probably okay.
It does work, right?
Well, yeah, you're
For
allowed
Diane.
to call your significant other a sweetheart. That's fine by me.
Yeah. Okay.
If it's said to a rando at a bar,
Right.
I don't know.
So they all work if they're coming to his actual person he's with, like darling,
Darling,
sweetheart.
hey,
Right.
darling.
But
Okay.
they didn't work for me. I couldn't call you that. You wouldn't accept
Not,
the darling
not
from me.
unless you want a serious conversation. Okay, so yeah, so again, telling us that episodes that feature a guest star really have to be the right person, because the Dick Cavett one is just very clearly like a walk-on, right? It's just
Yeah.
like we could get Dick Cavett. I was like, okay. Okay, so moving on, unless you have any other notes on
I
that.
have a This Week in Coach that's meaningless now. That's just say Norm. When are you going to bring Tanya by here?
Oh,
We're learning it 4 months later. This Week in Coach is
as unintelligible as Coach.
non sequiturs entirely.
Yeah. Ernie Pantuso. Okay, so episode 10, How Do I Love Thee? Let Me Call You Back. Sam tells Diane that he loves her. Diane is this is what Wikipedia says, romantically awestruck until Sam tells her that it was a casual remark he often says to others. They argue, they break up. Sam says ditto, again prophesying another famous movie that would come out later.
By the way, I do have here again Cheers' greatest weakness: Attack of the Day Player.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's just talking about what we were talking about before. Sorry.
And then Sam tries to say I love you, but he can't do it, and it impresses her because it feels real. This is a classic Sam and Diane episode, I think.
Yes.
If only we could remember it.
Also, I think if this was Let Me Count the Ways, right?
How do I love you? Let me call you back.
Yeah. This was a Harry the Hat cold open too.
Oh yeah. Do you remember what happened in it though?
It just says reference to Harry the Hat. Harry. and then I wrote beneath it, kind of chilling. It's still weird that he's dead.
Yeah.
Saying it's hard to reconcile the fact that Harry Anderson is dead.
I know. He's so young and vital. Like,
yeah,
you
it
can't think of him as
doesn't
older.
seem like it would be the case. This is. I do have here. I have reference to Marvin Hagler. That's for me, a big boxing fan. And then Sam first says, "I love you," says Diane into a spin. That's what happens.
Yeah.
Right? Did you just read?
I
that?
just read that. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to piece these together.
It's the old sacred scrolls. Okay, so let's take a break here because we got to episode 10. You tell me, Matt, you tell me why I haven't wanted to watch Cheers for months and months and months. Why it was such a struggle to get me to watch Cheers.
Is it because your mind right now, or in general, it demands serial content?
Yes.
Something, that has a serial story arc. And when you watch something like this, you very much like it, regardless of what it is. You find it funny, you find it soothing,
Well written.
but you're not drawn to it. You have to be forced to watch it, or forced by some other circumstance, because you need a serial storyline to pull you along.
Yes.
Is that correct?
I think that's correct.
Now, are you at all intrigued by the start of episode 3? Like, what's going to happen?
Season 3?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
I am. I feel like sometimes I feel like the way that I feel about animated shows, like
Mhm.
animated movies or TV shows, where I really have to be pulled by my hair to watch them, and I don't know why. It doesn't make any sense. I just when it comes to an animated show, I'm just like, and it's dumb because like animation is some of the most brilliant writing out there and insane plots, and it's so good, but it just doesn't pull me in like a human drama. And there's something about 80s TV shows that if you catch one, you're like, that's great. But if you're going to seriously sit down and watch them all and say, because you promised to for a podcast, it's harder to get me to do that. They don't have the same relaxing feel to me.
That's what I was saying, though, is Cheers becomes less and less like an 80s TV show the more you watch it.
That's right.
Because it shares the DNA of what will become all the comedies that we know. It just took time for that punchline intensity and the character stuff. Like, look, I watch it and I'm like thinking to myself, oh, this episode's a little slow, and I remember it, as being the holy grail for all episodes. But now watching it, I know some episodes are slow. Like most of the stuff that you like right now is just solidly the Sam and Diane relationship, right?
And you know who holds up the best, weirdly, is Diane. Because Diane was so ahead of her time as a character. Like, she was intelligent, she was well-read, she was empathetic. She's always getting herself, like, the scrapes come from her character trait of being empathetic. And I really like, Jax is so mad that we're not paying attention to him. Oh, buddy.
Jaxie.
Sorry, buddy. Come here. You want to come up? You want to come up and talk about Cheers? You could be the adorable pet. Here, you'll be our side character. Okay. Now there's a dog on the internet show. Now I lost my train of thought. Anyway,
why you think it's like an animated show?
No, it's just easiest to watch Diane.
Oh, Diane, yes.
Yeah, Matt has Did you know Matt has a DVR in his brain where he's still 3 seconds behind on your conversation?
I heard you on that one, though. It was only because I'm trying to look at these notes as well to see what stuff we missed.
Okay, so
will you watch season 3? You think consistently?
Of course. We have nowhere to go.
I think you'll like it. I also think you'll like the introduction of Frasier.
Yeah,
honestly, because
does it bring an energy
that is a show that is totally representative of a late 90s, mid 90s joke heavy show.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that show is sublime. Again, I'm not sure I'd want to watch it. All of it.
But do you know? Because I haven't watched many Frasiers, and I know the ones I've watched I've loved, but I bet if I watched it, I'd love most of them.
That's true. Okay, well, that was a brief interlude. Now on to Just Three Friends.
So, but quickly, Harry was in it. What you said, interesting that Ditto was before Ghost.
Yep.
And you noticed, as you noticed in a more recent episode, the episode was in and out of focus.
Yes. Okay, so an interesting thing happens in Cheers. The Jax is like not settling. Oh, do you want to go up on the desk like you used to do? He's going to end the live stream. Don't end the live stream. Come here, dog. Sit. What were we saying? My dog got me distracted.
It was in and out of focus.
Oh yeah. So they do film these kind of like a play. It's so weird. You can't even see the dog.
Why would that be?
I don't know. I'm going away from this video again. No, come here.
Oh, he's beneath it, perhaps.
He's gonna stop this thing. Come here, dog. Come here. Oh, there he is. Okay, we're getting distracted. This is not podcast material. Take the dog. Okay. All right.
Oh my God.
Oh no.
Look at that dog.
No. This is not where this should be going. Okay. So
in and out of focus.
In and out of focus, because they're it's a complicated setup, right? So people walk in and walk out, and like sometimes they're not always in the frame. So and there was a weird thing, but we'll get to that much later.
Just Three Friends, the next episode.
Yes, 11. Thank you.
The cold open was do you remember this? An attack dog that was in Sam's office, and they kept the joke running throughout the whole show.
Yeah.
And, like constantly people would be trying to get into the office, and there would be a vicious dog in there that they couldn't get in. Very funny.
And that you never saw.
That you never saw. Yeah, it was off screen.
They do that a lot. The girl you never saw, the apartment you never saw. Like they really do refer to things and make it a bit that you never see it. This is another.
Speaking of Harry the Hat,
another future episode, new future star of Night Court, Marky Post appears in this as Diane's old friend Heather, who flirts with Sam. They're gonna have dinner at Diane's apartment, and Carla convinces Diane that Sam and Heather may have the hots for each other, and then there's like a whole big dinner scene where they like fight.
Well, it's just Sam is and Marky Post are trying to reassure Diane that there's nothing going on with them, and it turns out that there is. Or do you
I don't
remember?
know. Then there's a bit with a dog at the bar.
I know that Diane is slowly melting down because
Yeah.
at first she's sort of telling Sam that there's, that her friend feels nothing for him, and then over time she starts to become more and more paranoid.
Yep. Okay, so again,
Slut. I said thanks a lot. That's what you looked at me like I was calling you a slut. No, that was one of the lines. Slut. What was that? I said thanks a lot.
oh yeah, okay, I remember this episode.
Do you remember Norm? I have Normometer question mark. How you're feeling about
Oh.
Norm at this point? You probably don't remember though,
I
right?
don't. He was doing a bit with a dog, and I think my normometer was neutral.
Right.
Um,
I said even the guest star one-offs can sometimes be good. This was an indication of that because Marky Post was really.
she was
good.
really good, and she had a role to play that was actually integral to the thing you care about, which is Sam and Diane.
Yes.
So when it has something to do with Sam and Diane, it's good. Like the Fred Dreyer one was good.
Yeah.
So.
Totally.
Okay. All right. So episode 12, Where There's a Will. Beloved Malcolm Kramer, I guess he was from the bar, has a will that gives $100,000 inheritance to people at Cheers. And then apparently everybody becomes greedy. And then there's a bit at the end with Sam burning the will. He burns the will. He burns
Yes,
the will.
to try
he
and
burns-
keep the money.
Yeah. But like, it's a funny bit because he does it. He keeps burning fake copies of it. Do you remember this episode?
I have,
at all?
yes. Inspector Lassard and Punky Brewster's dad was the.
Oh, yeah,
yes,
yeah.
Remember that? Yeah. He was the guy giving away the money, making
And we have
friends
another
at the
visit
bar.
from a pet. We have a cat
Hi, Durante.
coming to visit.
I have in this. Diane had the ultra poodle perm. Like she goes through periods where her
Yeah.
hair is like super, super curly. Do you
Yep.
remember that? And
Yep.
this was one of those.
Poodle perm era.
And then Twish this week in Sam harassment, sexual harassment. I have you do that to me every night. I don't know what the context is, but that was the joke.
So yeah, this is an interesting one, but this is definitely one where like I remember the bit the
Oh yes, no, I have the joke. It's
okay.
Mr. Kramer, you made a wonderful gesture, and now they're asking you to repeat it. Sam, you do that to me every night. That's Twish.
I don't think
But
that's Twish if you're in a relationship.
If they're in a relationship, it's not. But if he's the boss, I mean, that's just an umbrella thing where he's the boss, right? You
Sometimes
just are accepting it. Yeah.
Sometimes in this instance, and I feel confident that Diane, this is something that network executives today would never let happen. But like, I feel confident that Diane Chambers is a woman who can stand up for herself in the face of workplace harassment,
Right.
which she does in many of these episodes. Okay. So we have anything else to say about this episode? We got to burn through them.
Got it. Next one is Battle of the Exes.
Yeah, this is a famous one.
I have it this week in Coach too.
Oh, okay.
He's talking about where he used to go on vacation. It'd say, "Oh, we'd drive up to an old inn." And the person says, "What inn?" He says, "Oh, station wagons." "What inn?" "You're more than welcome to use my station wagon."
Oh, that Coach is just the most consistently best written character who's not Sam or Diane.
Yep,
I
yep.
think he is the one that I just treasure the most.
We're gonna miss him.
Mm.
No.
Okay. All right. So, Battle of the Exes, episode 13. There's something about Carla wanting to bring a date to her ex.
Oh my God! I'm just realizing what this one was.
This is famous.
This
I
is the
remember
famous the first Nick Tortelli episode with Dan Hedaya,
Yeah.
who would figure prominently into the rest of the series.
And Gene Kasem as his ditzy Loretta, who he's going to be married to, and I guess they're going to all go out to dinner, maybe.
Carla, Sam steps in to be Carla's date.
To I think even to pretend that their boyfriend and girlfriend.
Boyfriend and girlfriend.
Yeah.
And and I will always remember the famous Nick Tortelli line when Sam announces that. It's like, Carla and I are actually dating. And Nick Tortelli says, "Sam, I thought you was cool." I thought that was very funny. Also a classic Coach line that has since been used comedically in many other ways.
Yeah.
But this was the first time I ever heard it, which was, "I know Carla like the back of my hand." What is that? I've never seen that before. Or he notices something on the back of his hand.
That's a good solid good. Okay, so you guys, now there's people watching. How about that?
What are
Yeah.
you talking
Here, look.
about?
Look. This little icon. People are watching.
Oh, all
Isn't that
right.
amazing? Hi. I don't know who that is, but hi. Tell us who you are in the chat. Okay, so this is a very famous episode because at the end of the episode, when Nick leaves after dinner, right? First Nick kisses her. Nick Tortelli kisses Carla,
Uh-huh.
and she tells him that spark is gone. But of course, when he leaves, she starts crying, and she tells Sam that the kiss reignited the spark, and then they're always like, "Well, whatever happened? Like, why didn't we ever date? What happened to us?" And then they kiss.
And they have a little moment, and it was such a real moment. It
Yeah,
was like
they didn't play it for laughs.
that was nice. And Sam was like, and done. Like
Yeah,
just show
like-
because they were playing it in a way that it wasn't scandalous in
Yeah.
any way. It was just a nice moment between friends that Diane never found out about. That was just was really, really a sweet cheers moment.
Yeah, it was lovely.
Speaking of sweet cheers moments, I also wrote down something that always occurs to me, and it's I get a warm feeling when people wish each other good night at Cheers. When they're
Oh.
like, "Good night, Diane. Good night, Coach. Good night." I don't know why,
'Cause
but
it
when
feels
people
like
say good night,
family.
yeah, I that moves me in some way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's like when we say goodnight.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah.
the people that you love. Okay. So now we have that was like that if you have to ask me like what moment do I remember from the early watchings of this, this is the one.
Mhm.
Like it's burned in my brain because it was so unexpected and yet it also played as a real moment. Like
Yes.
it didn't feel like a joke or like it was just like really great because they
Right.
are actually the two characters who like in a weird way are the most similar and compatible and close.
Hmm.
So
No, that was a really nice moment.
okay, so episode 14, burning through them. Episode called No Help Wanted. Norm is a Norm centric episode. Norm has almost run out of his unemployment, a feeling that
America can relate to.
not just
Right.
America.
Yeah, what, the globe? Well, when I say America, meaning it's all of America. That includes us.
Yes.
Why not just America?
Well, because we're not doing a podcast with America.
No, but I'm saying that America can relate to,
Yes.
meaning everyone right
Yes.
now.
Everyone right now. We're in troubled times. The more you no. Okay, so Norm has to wash dishes at Melville's. You remember this?
Yes, yes.
And
Oh,
then
he becomes embarrassed by that.
yeah, and then Diane, who always does this, she's always the one who's like, I have a well-meaning gesture to make, and blah, blah, blah. She hires Norm as the bar. She convinces Sam to hire Norm as the bar's new accountant, which Sam is not like so thrilled about because he has an accountant and he likes his accountant. And Norm, but like he does it anyway. Sam does it anyway, and Norm's like, "Hey, I got you $15,000 back." And then the next day, Norm finds out that Sam didn't fire his accountant, and
he was afraid.
he was
that Norm would
afraid.
make mistakes, ruin his business.
and he only got a smaller refund. And Norm feels betrayed, and then he like says, "I'm never returning," and then he comes back and goes, "Don't kick me out." And then Sam rehires Norm for another tax season.
And do you remember where your normometer was here? Better than other episodes.
Yeah, because
right?
it was just like a real thing.
Right.
It felt real enough.
Right. Norm was good at his job.
Norm was good at his job, and he's always just sitting there at the bar like a schlub with his beer.
Right.
But in fact, here, drink my beer.
Oh, you
hold
don't
my
want,
beer.
You don't want yours?
No, I never drink my beer.
Okay.
This was just for a bit. Okay, so then
I love this. This is living.
this is the apocalypse, baby. Okay, so this episode I remember really well because we've not watched this that long ago.
What? And Kochi makes 3?
Yeah, episode 15. We're now into 1984, by the way, January 1984. And Kochi makes 3, where Coach shows up at Diane's apartment and Sam and Diane are about to have sex, and he shows up because it's like they're gonna watch what TV show?
By the way, my notes end here.
Oh no!
It was an old Western, I think. Yeah, of some kind, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like
It was
a
like
like a black and
The
white
Have Gun
western.
Will Travel type
And
thing, yeah.
the thing I remember about this episode is that Diane had a portable television. She would
Yeah,
not
she-
deign. I would never deign to have a television in her house, like as a feature. So she has this little portable television that she pulls out
you could put right on your coffee table.
right on your coffee table. Don't need a real TV.
Bunny ear antennas.
Yeah, and then the interesting thing is that I think he shows up there like constantly. They keep showing up, and then they're like hanging out all together. And poor Sam and Diane never get to have sex.
And it becomes a question as
Yeah.
to which one of them is going to tell Coach that he can't hang out with them anymore.
Right, but remember, there's a plot twist because Coach is talking about a nice woman at the bank where he goes, and Diane wants to set him up with the lady from the bank.
That's right.
And there's a funny bit where like it's a really good run with Coach, which for This Week in Coach, where Coach is like trying to remember who the woman is at what bank. And like they keep having to send people out of the bar. Do you remember this?
Yes, yes. He's trying to jog his memory.
Yeah.
She wore a certain hat, and one person will run out, and then he
Yeah.
remembers another thing, like, oh no, it was the bank down the street. It's
Yeah.
like, next person was Cliff, would be like, oh, I got this.
Yeah.
Until everybody's running down the street, something that could never exist in the age of the cell phone.
No, they would just call them on the phone. So they go they finally have to like there's a good date, it's a good date, and then Coach drops the woman at the bus stop and then comes back, and finally Sam and Diane have to say, Coach, like don't bother us
Because this is
anymore.
like
Yeah.
she's cramping our style.
She's cramping our
Like,
style.
It's us three.
And then they feel terrible, but then Coach tells them that he had a wonderful evening with the lady and he'd like to see her again. So it all works out in the end. Brief break for water. This is more episodes than I've ever talked about of anything. Oh, okay. We are on to number 16. You know what? We're not that far away from the episodes that we watched. Not
This very day.
no.
Last night.
Last night, where I fell asleep. Okay, that was a dark moment for Claire's. Okay, so next we go to episode 16, Cliff's Rocky Moment. I remember this, where a Cheers patron confronts Cliff for being like a know-it-all.
Yeah, he's bullying him.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
And he brings his friend Lewis, who's a fellow mailman who happens to be black,
Gigantic guy.
a
super-
very tall, ripped guy. And then somehow Victor, the bully, reminds Lewis, the friend,
of how annoying Cliff is.
right? And
And he takes off, is
takes
no
off.
longer his bodyguard. And then Cliff sort of makes the old 80s threat of, oh, you better be careful. I know karate. My hands are registered as lethal weapons. And looks like a coward. But Cliff goes outside, gets a board and a couple bricks, and in front of the whole bar, smashes the board and smashes the bricks.
Mhm.
And I remember this from when I was little as being a very funny moment. Everybody's like, wow, Cliff, well, I know not to mess with you. And then Diane goes up to congratulate Cliff, and Cliff just says under his breath, Diane, take me to the hospital. And it shows her the classic Cheers, where you only see they execute so many jokes this way, only see the view of the stairs going down to
Yes.
the bar, and Diane is dragging Cliff up the stairs, who's extremely injured.
Yes.
So that it was funny.
Okay, so there's also another thing in here where Diane keeps winning betting on football every week.
Oh, right.
Because she's just like picking the colors and
Betting
the
on the uniforms and
Yeah.
the colors.
yeah. So that's so then that was the last episode of Cheers that we watched for a long time, and we took like a long break, and you kept trying to get me to watch Cheers, and I kept being like, not tonight, honey, which is a weird thing to say about Cheers. I just didn't have it in me.
You had a headache.
I had a headache. I couldn't watch Cheers, and like I couldn't figure out why. We talked about this a little bit, but then finally last night, really we realized there just wasn't anything else to do. I'd watched Picard. I'd watched Frozen 2.
Again, I've been wanting to watch these episodes
I
since
watched
day one.
Rise of Skywalker. Matt's basic position over the last couple of months was, why are we going to do a podcast and you make me watch Cheers, and all I really wanted to watch Cheers and you don't want to watch Cheers? It's been going on like this for a while. So last night I was like, well, I should watch Cheers. So we watched episode 17, Fortune and Men's Weight. Wait, wow. I can't believe that that's the episode. Okay.
Do you not remember it?
No, I do.
Oh.
This wasn't the one I fell asleep on. Okay, so they Coach orders, I guess, an old fortune telling machine that also weighs you. So it weighs you and then it tells you your fortune. And Sam's like, Coach, I told you I don't want you buying stuff for the bar. And he's like, no, it'll be great. And so it's this like thing where it spits out like a little fortune cookie sized fortune. And you think it's going to be like a schlocky episode because, of course, Carla starts taking the fortunes much too seriously and like really stretching to make them work, but they sort of work. And then Diane gets a fortune that says deception in romance proves costly. And instead of being like, whatever, I'm Diane, she gets like quiet and weird about it.
Because she was not telling Sam that the night previous she had gone out on not a date, but sort of had a guy from her a class she was taking back to her house, and it was fairly innocent, but she was feeling guilty about it.
Right.
And it sort of devolved into problems in their relationship, problems that continue all the way until the end of the season, about honesty, about their incompatibility, and ultimately Sam, and this whole time Sam has been saying, I don't believe in these fortunes.
Yeah.
It's just a ridiculous little just gimmick that I don't need in my bar. And he's going to just grab a fortune to sort of prove that fact at the end of the night. And Diane doesn't want him to, because she got that one where she was, deception is costly, and was started to feel like their relationship is on the line. And the coolest thing about the end of the episode is Sam actually does wind up taking a fortune. And then he looks at it, and it says,
machine empty, order more fortunes today.
And it goes to the end of the show, which was
it.
almost kind of a chilling episode relationship-wise between the two of them.
Yeah.
Kind of showing that, the relationship is that much up in the air. So that was sort of a shticky episode that, as Cheers does so well, ended on something very serious and good.
Yes. And what I liked about it was there was like some very verbally dexterous back and forth between Sam and Diane about who broke up with who first, because they were like pretend broken up.
Yes.
And she like verbally maneuvers him into confessing something, and then she breaks up with him because of, I don't know.
They do that so well.
They do it so well. It's really, this is like a really good example of, in kind of a throwaway episode, something that like really sings character-wise. Okay, so the next episode is called Snow Job, and Matt is going to have to tell you about it.
You don't have to know about it that much. Jenny fell asleep on it.
I fell asleep.
But
You got mad at me.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
I did. I got mad at you
Were
later
you
on.
falling asleep
Did you
during
know it
Cheers?
was me? I didn't get mad at you immediately. I just got grouchy later, and you probably knew this had to do with it.
Yes,
right?
yes. But I just passed out.
I knocked over water on the couch, and I was like, "Oh, my water wasn't here; it was over here. Maybe it wouldn't have gotten knocked over." And I was really angry because you fell asleep because of Cheers.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Living in this new world order.
Yeah.
But
No one else to
can
talk
be
to.
summed up as Sam had a ski trip that he always used to take with his baseball buddies, and Diane didn't know about it. Sam didn't tell her about it, but she finds out about it from Carla. Carla's sort of talking about Sam's old days, and he's
They call these snow bunnies.
Yeah, snow bunnies. This week it says Twish. And Sam comes in, and he's made up an excuse that his uncle has died, and because Diane already knows, she knows that he's lying to her, and she does the old sort of give him enough rope to hang himself, that he says that he's going to go on the trip, and keeps coming back as he gets guiltier and guiltier to try and assure Diane that what she thinks, and if she's wondering that there's anything not on the up and up about the trip, she's wrong, until ultimately he confesses. And there's a funny moment in them in terms of which kind of plays into the themes in the end, like it's sort of the reverse of what winds up happening to them in the finale episode, which we'll get to in a moment. The idea of what you're not telling someone, and guilt, and
And this episode is notable because there are two very slim subplots. So the very beginning of a B and a C story, although you couldn't as much call them full stories. Norm has another friend who's unemployed, and it makes Cliff jealous.
Right.
And then Coach is like doing something with beer glasses, like he
has a record for not dropping beer glasses, so he's trying not to drop them on the floor, and he's taking the number of precautions to try and win the bet with himself, and he's like covered the floor in feathers and
so
stuff
then he
like
gets
that.
cocky and he takes the feathers off and he starts smashing glasses for reasons that I don't
Yeah,
understand.
well, he was smashing glasses. I think like I'm not cocky. Like
Yeah.
I don't need this glass. So this is that one part where you started to fall asleep. 'Cause it was
Yeah.
weird for you.
I was just like, what is happening here? And also I was really tired.
Right. Well, you've earned it. The
I mean-
world has earned it.
Yeah, we've all earned. I feel like we've all earned just a nap. Don't you think?
Yeah,
Like
more than
I
one.
feel like the art of napping is going to be so profound. So okay, so this all right. Now we get to the episodes that we watched actually today. 4 episodes.
Yes.
And so the first one is episode number 19, called Coach Buries a Grudge.
Coach Buries a Grudge.
Coach-centric episode.
Episode where Coach has a friend from the minors that he used to play with. You okay?
A bug just flew in my face
Oh no!
on a
And
podcast.
that's not the worst thing that can fly in your face in these times.
I know. God, come on, bug. It's one of those June bugs, the type that people always
Oh.
think they should kill, but they're harmless. and
Oh,
actually good for
those
you.
are safe. He used to play within the minors. He's going to. He found out that his friend died. He went to the funeral in Arizona, but nobody really knew the guy. I mean, he played in the East Coast, so Coach Diane, always with the good ideas, has the idea that perhaps Coach should have a memorial at the bar. And Coach does just that. But right before he has to do the memorial with all these old baseball players, one of whom I think is Bubba Smith, the football player.
Mhm.
He finds out that this guy fooled around with his wife.
No, not fooled around. Made a pass
Made
at.
a pass at. How nobody uses that word anymore. He made a pass at me. Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it's weird.
I was actually thinking of that the other day before we even saw this, or maybe it was inspired by this, but just the idea that nobody uses the phrase "made a pass at me."
Because there are better words now.
Right?
It's called sexual harassment.
No. Yeah, well, but if
Yeah.
a person makes a pass at someone and they're like, then that I made a pass at you and you didn't like.
Let's go to the tree.
No, like even in college, and you were not having it.
Yeah,
It was
I
just
wasn't having
it was
it.
just a rejection. That's not sexual harassment.
That's true. If you were my professor, it would have been
right,
or my
right.
RA.
And anyway, Coach is upset about this, obviously, and he can't give the eulogy. And there's a funny scene where Diane and Sam try and sort of talk him down. He's so angry, and he can't see past how much rage is inside him, and he's going to go rip the guy apart in the eulogy in front of all his friends.
And he even goes as far and he says, he was a son of a, as he says, he was a son of an immigrant.
which is a very funny line.
Yeah.
It's
Pretty great.
And like, and like many immigrants, he was human.
Yeah. Which is very poignant now, but is also very coachable.
Yeah.
Coach sensible.
And had one of those Cheers moments where in it they had a cutout of the guy when he was a player, like a promotional cutout. It was all in black and white. Like imagine like an old like Ty Cobb cutout. And as Coach was giving the eulogy, he looked over and he looked at the cutout, and there was this brief moment of silence where he couldn't tear the man down, no matter how much he hated him. And Cheers allows you to have those moments of silence, where I think some comedies wouldn't necessarily. And he ultimately couldn't do it. He continues the eulogy, and then you find out everybody in the audience that guy's like slept with their wives.
Yeah,
he's
stolen borrowed money and never paid it back.
And they're
it
like,
was-
storm out. They're gonna hang him in effigy. It's a funny line. Now you don't need notes for it. You can remember. He's like, one of the guys says, taking the cardboard cutout, and was like, let's hang him in effigy. And Coach says, let's hang him right here. That was funny.
It was
And then strangely, another Cheers moment. Diane starts singing "Amazing Grace" at where Coach was giving the eulogy, and all the guys who had headed up the stairs of the bar to go like hang this guy's cutout come back down and sing "Amazing Grace" along with her. And I'm waiting for the treacle cutter and ultimately it ends on the sweet moment.
Yeah.
It doesn't end on the like a joke, right?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think it was really nice. And then like there's a little side plot about Norm and Vera, which I didn't catch at all. And I didn't necessarily need to even think about. Okay, episode 20, Norman's Conquest. I did not like this episode. And I don't even think I remember it very well.
Well,
even though
that's
we
because
watched
it's
it
the
like an hour
first
ago.
episode ever in these 3 seasons that we have fast forwarded.
That's right. That's why I don't remember it. So
Yes.
this Norman's Conquest was the first episode we didn't really watch.
We tuned in to some Sam and Diane stuff, but it was so, and we were watching so many, it was just so clear that that we were not going to be fans of the like, oh, is Normie gonna screw this girl subplot?
Yeah, it felt really crass and not funny, I guess is the bigger sin.
And I kept having
to be
to, it's
honest.
very low on the normometer for Jenny.
Yes.
And I kept having to reassure her that Norm does become a better, funnier character than this, and he does. And he's still funny. He still has a lot of great one-liners, but this was one that was not as fun. And I think that the more he becomes solid in his like, he was grudgingly but solidly in love with Vera, the better for him in the series.
Yeah.
But that was not a huge episode for us.
So before we get to the season finale, part 1 and part 2, we're just going to take a quick commercial break and tell you a little bit about our sponsor, Clorox wipes. Clorox wipes. I've got 3 whole canisters of them, and you can use them to wipe off doorways and countertops. I've used them on my phone, although I feel like maybe that's not the best thing to use on your phone, but at this point, who cares? Don't forget to take your phone out of its case and wipe the case too. Wipe everything where it gets on. You can, I've used Clorox wipes, not when they're like full of juice, but when they're almost gone, to like wipe my hands sometimes when I feel a little unclean, because we're living in dangerous and difficult times.
Yes.
So Clorox.
And a shout out to our other sponsor, wiping your ass with a Hanes t-shirt.
We have a lot of toilet paper in this house.
We do.
Like many people, we have come to discussions about what would we do if we ran out of it, and the answer is simply go to a grocery store because they'll probably have some.
Or use Matt's old t-shirts.
Or use Matt's old t-shirts, or immediately get in the shower.
Or that's what we ran into a guy we went to when we found out we were all sheltering in place for the near future. We went to the farmer's market to pick up a few grocery items.
And we were wearing gloves.
We were wearing
I
gloves.
was wearing a scarf.
And we met a guy who was he from Chile or Peru?
I have no memory.
You remember it was when we were getting pies? And he was like, "Let me
the
tell you
pie guy,
something."
the guy who was selling the pies. Yeah.
And he was like, my kids, they don't understand what it's what.
What accent are you?
I don't know. It's the one in my head. What it
like
was?
A
What does that? No, I'm like a
Why don't you just
Triumph, the insult comic dog. Well, they don't understand how hard things is. How you can you need to survive. They say, "What do we do, Daddy? What do we do?" And they say, "You boil the water, and you get it done." And then they say, "What about the toilet paper? What do we do if there is no toilet paper?" And he says, "You go to the bathroom, and then you take a shower." And I thought that was nice. I thought that was very true.
That was the guy that was handling our food. Just kidding. He was a really, really nice guy.
So funny.
He was a really nice guy.
Very funny. Very funny.
Brought to you by Clorox wipes. Okay, we're back just in time to talk about the 2-part season finale, which aired May 3rd and May 10th. And by the way, here's a notable thing. Episode 20, Norm's Conquest, aired February 23rd. And then episode 43 and 44 did not come back until May 3rd and May 10th. So what was going on there for 3 months? There was no
Was
TV.
there a writer's strike? I don't know.
I don't know. Was there a writer's strike?
I'll have to look that up.
But there were 22
that's
episodes.
Like 2 months.
Isn't that weird? That's weird. Anyway, so I'll be seeing you.
Also, this was eventually a #1 show, and it says this finished 35th in the Nielsen rating, so it has not yet made the climb to being,
The ensemble has not yet coalesced. I did that in a Frasier voice. Okay, so the episode, the finale is called "I'll Be Seeing You," Part 1 and Part 2, and it is it's kicked off by Diane finding out that Sam has done an interview for Boston Magazine because he's on their list of 20 most eligible bachelors. And he didn't mention that he's actually technically not a bachelor. He's dating someone. And he says, like, I told the writer, you can call the writer and see that I told her about you. And then she said, well, I was going to call her, but then I thought, no, we're mature. And anyway,
He starts to panic.
He starts to panic. Carla suggests that he commission a portrait of Diane from a photograph.
Yeah. Another strange thing, which was they were talking about, like, I saw in the tabloids the other day that Bert, Sally was mad at Bert because he had done something with Lonnie. And so Bert made a portrait for Sally. We're like, whoa. It's like Burt Reynolds, Sally Field, and Lonnie Anderson were all first name basis
on this TV show.
And,
yeah.
I guess shows you why how pop culture doesn't completely age always that well when you're ready. But.
So this plot twist where Sam commissions a painting, Cliff delivers mail to a famous artist and somehow gets this famous artist to come into the bar, and it's Christopher Lloyd of Back to the Future, of Taxi, of all these things. And his name is Philip Semenko. And he's pretentious, and he insults Sam, and he's wearing like a Arafo Native American garb. And as he's about to walk out of the bar after Sam has fired him, he runs into Diane, and he's smitten, and just like as a subject, and she knows his work.
She recognizes him as a sort of very accomplished artist, like who's on the rise, and would be, bowled over if he would paint her.
Yeah.
And he is, as Jenny said, smitten by her and wants to paint Diane. But
Sam gets jealous.
Yeah. And says that he doesn't like the guy, doesn't want her to have anything to do with him. Under no circumstances should Diane excuse me.
Oh no.
Should,
no, don't joke. I'd have to watch all these episodes by myself.
Would you continue on? Would you continue on without me?
Of course I would.
That's a promise.
Yeah,
right
promise.
now.
Pinky swear.
If something should come to pass where I'm unwell and can't carry on, you must carry on.
I will watch this. I will probably get a co-host, but I will watch it.
Lance, are you listening?
No, I would ask a rotating series of co-hosts if you were no longer the co-host of this show. That would be Patrick McCarthy, Lance, Tom Merritt, Richard Gunther,
right,
and then literally anyone else who would like to join it. Oh, Mike Range.
Movie League Mike,
yeah, Movie League Mike. Make him sing his own song. And then, okay, so basically Sam gets jealous and says, if you do this, it'll be the end of our relationship. And there's a really interesting bit at the beginning, which you think is just a throwaway bit, but it's not, where Coach is standing up in front of everybody and saying, like, okay, I was signing up for the annual Cheers picnic.
Right. And nobody wants to sign up for anything.
And so he keeps signing himself up for all the responsibilities. And then at the end, he no, I guess it's in the next episode.
Episode. And this one, strangely, you pointed it out. Sam forbids the Diane getting her portrait painted by this guy, and he sort of leaves, and Diane goes up to Semenko, Christopher Lloyd, and says, I still want to have my portrait painted by you. I'd give anything. And he says, all right, I will paint it for you. But essentially, what his line is, I'll do it for free, because he so badly wants to break Sam and Diane up, and knows that if he does it, that it will create trust issues, and they will no longer be together.
Yeah.
And the thing that's interesting is that the episode ends with Sam asking, Diane has gone off to be painted by Christopher Lloyd, and Sam comes out of his office and says, where's Diane? And then it's just the freeze frame. And to be continued over the freeze frame, which you never see anymore. Very strange.
And it's also not like the most dramatic end.
No, and you could tell when they start the next episode that it was an episode that was all filmed at once. That
that was definitely not an intentional break. So they do a cool thing at the top of I'll Be Seeing You Part 2, which is the final episode of the second season of Cheers, where Coach recaps the previous episode, but he does it kind of like he's sketching like on a TV, like sketching a baseball diamond and doing running plays, and it's kind of funny, and it's in black and white, which is weird.
It made
Like-
us wish that more shows did that for their
Yeah.
previously on. You
It
know,
was
like
good.
filmed a bit that existed expressly for previously on. You know?
Yeah, it was I feel like very ahead of its time.
Yeah, I thought so.
So then it's a week has gone by, and Coach is now making a speech like he's, like, I'm so sad nobody wanted to come to my picnic. And so of course the whole bar signs up for the picnic, which again you think is just a running bit, but it actually turns out to be important. And then like there's just like a thing with Norm in a restaurant that I don't fully understand. It's like a running bit about the hungry heifer.
Yes, which
I don't
is
understand why.
at the time that restaurant, the Hungry Heifer, becomes Norm's restaurant over all 11 years.
Got
I'm
it.
sure they didn't know it at the time. It was just something that they played
They
with.
keep running the bit.
But like Lance might know out there, as you would know with Harley's Slushy Shack, you invent something at the time that's just a one-off joke, and it becomes a part of the character, and it's forever
Yep,
with you.
And it's
And
forever
that
with you.
wound up happening with the Hungry Heifer.
So okay, so Sam brings in a portrait from another painter, and it's like hilariously bad, and it is really hilariously bad. And then Diane is at her apartment being painted by this Ponzi artist, and it's really like, again, the artist is like, I can't paint, let's go to bed. Like, it's really
It's very much Lewis
Of its time.
Christopher Lloyd sexual harassment.
I mean, whatever, the
Yeah.
artists
but,
like,
but that's with artists. You can
I must
you
be
can-
inspired by
with an
taking
artist
you-
they let you do anything. Grab them by the pussy.
Oh God.
We've forgotten. Let's not forget that's who our president is. Okay, let's not forget. It's not a man who's sending us checks. It's grab 'em by the pussy.
Okay. Well, let's talk about Cheers.
Shut up.
I'm kidding. So, so he finally talks to her. She's sitting on the couch in this, by the way, very Edwardian era gown for no reason whatsoever. It was really weird. Like, she was wearing like a gown you'd see in a John Singer Sargent.
I guess that's what she's being painted in. Or-
Yeah, it was very strange. But he starts talking to her about her relationship, and she starts talking about the relationship with Sam, and she gets this like very serious, like troubled look on her face, and he's like, that's it, that's the look I need. And he does one swipe on the painting, and then it's done.
yeah.
And so then he's like, really, if you show this to Sam, your relationship will be over. And he's saying, because he'll see the truth of you and know that he's no good for you.
Mhm.
So she brings it into the bar. And the interesting thing is that only Carla and Sam are at the bar because everyone's out at the softball game and the picnic, which is the most organic way to get everybody out of the bar, not late at night.
Yes, it was both a joke and a setup to leave them by themselves,
Yes.
which was awesome.
So they have a huge fight about the painting. He's like, let me look at it. She's like, don't look at it when you're mad. They fight about that. And then they fight about Sam being immature. And it's really just a ball buster fight. And
Which,
it's
by the
both-
way, is a classic Cheers fight.
Yeah.
That fight where she slaps him,
Oh,
and then he
yeah.
slaps her, and then she slaps him, and then he slaps her, and then they're both grabbing each other's nose. Which I wanted to ask you:
yeah.
is it okay? Woman slaps you in the face, and you lightly slap her back. Is that okay? Woman slaps you in the face first. You lightly slap her back. Is that okay?
Yes. I mean, I think if someone slaps you in this day and age, oh, ow.
Ow!
All right, can we do it? I can't take as many times as they did it.
That was
This is a very
Do it
different.
again. Do it again.
No,
I'll
no,
do it too
no.
soft.
The
Ready?
ve-
1, 2, 3.
I don't like it.
Do it to me. Do it to me. Ow!
It's turned into a very different kind of podcast.
I surrender. I surrender.
So yeah, but the grabbing of the noses, the way they framed it and the way they did it was so incredible. Like, it was really just fantastic. And then they break up and it's really sad. And then she ends their relationship, quits her job, and then at the end, Sam unwraps the painting, and the last thing he says is, "Wow."
Which I thought was an amazing ending. I
Yeah.
love that ending.
Yeah. So anyway,
And that's season 3. Season 2.
Two.
Season 2.
We've only gone to season 2. We're behind. Oh my god.
Cheers. And man, does Cheers do cliffhangers well?
Yeah.
I mean, that's where, I think why Friends became so good at it. That's why any half-hour show owes a big debt to Cheers, because the cliffhangers. I remember being young, and Jenny's keeping me on mic. I remember being young, young, and waiting all summer for to find out what would happen when the show came back, which I guess is the essence of a cliffhanger.
And you were 10 years old.
Yeah, 10 years old.
I was 10 years old.
I was 10 years old.
No, you're
and,
9.
and I was definitely watching the show regularly then. I don't remember some of them.
Hello, I'm 9-year-old Matt Flanagan, and I'm watching Cheers.
Well, but you know what? I don't remember a lot of it, but
Is
I
that where
remember
you
the
got
Sam
all
and
your
Diane
many
stuff.
moves? Your moves?
What, like for ladies? Or?
Yeah, from Sam Malone.
Oh, I could bet in my dreams I'm Sam Malone.
Hey, let's go to the tree.
No way.
I'm torturing Matt with the
Right.
first thing he ever did when he tried to kiss me in Los Angeles, where he kept trying to get me to go to. For you audio listeners out there, I just got lightly whapped.
I hope you guys will, if you've not watched the episode yet,
Yeah,
we'll watch it, because
The
that slap
two-parter.
fight that we're doing right here
is a
is
part
very,
of
very
the
funny.
show.
And that's
It's
why
very
we're
funny.
joking, and you'll like it.
Yeah. So anyway, that's season 2 of Let's Talk About Cheers.
I really hope we aggressively attack season 3. because,
Aggressively
you
attack
know-
and maybe go back. Should we go back to our original format? Like this was just like the massive catch up.
Yes, I think so, because I feel badly that we had to not remember some of the
Yeah,
stuff. And
It's really worth digging into
you
these
know,
bit by bit. Well, we thought we would just
get into some more organic
catch up.
conversations. Yeah. So
Yeah.
we apologize for the summarizing of all the shows. We just wanted to catch up. It's a lot of seasons.
It's a lot of seasons. We're going to be doing this show when we're 95 years old.
We hope.
hope. All right. Well, thank you for joining us on Let's Talk About Cheers. Thanks to Mike Range for that awesome
Absolutely.
song that I sang live at the beginning of this episode, which is amazing. And you're about to hear it.
Thanks to Lance Winery for listening, and everybody stay safe out there.
Stay safe out there. Make sure to use your Clorox and your wipes and your spritzers and your sanitizers and your social distancing. And we're always here if you need us. You just come find us on the Twitter. I'm Jenny J23. Matt is. Did you know Matt has a Twitter?
Matt doesn't.
Matt does.
Matt
This
just
is what I'm
doesn't
gonna
use
do.
it.
This is what I'm gonna do for social distancing. My goal is to make Matt use Twitter. So if you go to, hold on, I'm gonna tell people what your Twitter is, but I have to look it up. Please hold. This episode was about to end. It's really simple. Yeah. At Flan Mantis, FLANMANTIS. If you hear this episode, tweet at Matt and he will have to reply to you. How about that?
You're doing my nightmare right now.
I know.
Okay.
I know. All right. Well, please enjoy this actual version, which you will hear on the audio part of Let's Talk About Cheers, the song that Mike Range wrote for us, which is now and forever our theme song. Thanks for listening.
We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.